Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Top Republicans say they are open to a Democratic idea for gun legislation as investigators continue to look into Sunday's massacre in Las Vegas. I'm Seth Lemon on Capitol Hill with more coming up.
And closer to home, if you think a lot of people hit deer with their vehicles in Montana, you'd be right. State Farm Insurance says this state ranks #2 in the country for car deer collisions. Coming up, some things you can do to minimize the risk of becoming a part of that statistic. Good morning, Southwest Montana, 6:30 on this Friday. Thanks for joining us. Missy O'Malley is off. Matt Elwell has our forecast in a moment. Meantime, victims are being remembered in Las Vegas as authorities continue to investigate why a gunman opened fire on a crowded music festival. The carnage has led to a rare agreement over gun control between Republicans and Democrats. CBS's Seth Lemon is on Capitol Hill to explain.
Mourners in Las Vegas lit candles for Charleston Hartfield overnight, the off-duty police officer killed in Sunday's mass shooting. 58 white crosses now line the Las Vegas Strip, a tribute to all the concertgoers killed by Stephen Paddock that day. Investigators are still trying to figure out what led the 64-year-old to open fire at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival. Officials say he may have had his eyes on other outdoor events with large crowds. They say he booked but never checked into a hotel room in Chicago overlooking the Lollapalooza Music Festival. Same goes for rooms overlooking another festival in Las Vegas and around Boston's Fenway Park.
Until they can actually completely complete this investigation, we're not going to know what was on his mind. The massacre in Las Vegas has some Republicans here on Capitol Hill open to the idea of banning the piece of equipment the gunman used to make his semi-automatic gun fire like a fully automatic one. Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein has already introduced legislation that would ban the import and sale of bump stocks. House Speaker Paul Ryan thinks Congress should consider the idea.
Fully automatic weapons have been outlawed for many, many years. This seems to be a way of going around that.
On Thursday, the NRA also signaled its support. Seth Lemon for CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, President Trump, when asked his opinion on banning bump stocks, told reporters, quote, "We'll be looking into that over the next short period of time," end quote. Shifting gears, Harvey, Irma, Maria, and now Nate. Gulf Coast is preparing for a possible hurricane over the weekend. Tropical storm Nate has already killed at least 20 people across Central America. CNN's Andrew Spencer reports officials are doing what they can to make sure people aren't caught off guard if Nate makes landfall in the United States.
Not yet a hurricane, the winds and rains from Tropical Storm Nate still managed to ravage parts of Honduras, Costa Rica, and Nicaragua. Now officials are preparing for an expected landfall along the U.S. Gulf Coast this weekend.
Given these threats, I have declared a state of emergency for the city of New Orleans.
As forecast tracks had New Orleans in Nate's path, Mayor Mitch Landrieu encouraged people to be prepared.
I want to stress there's no need to panic. We just need to be ready for heavy wind and heavy rain.
Some people are already filling up their gas tanks and stocking up on whatever they might need if the power goes out. Bill Scott is tying up his boat before the marina closes.
It's like anything else. You got to secure your property. You hopefully prevent missile damage, that is chairs and things that get blown up in the air and sail forth to hurt other people.
Nate isn't anywhere near the size and power of Irma or Harvey or Maria, but officials still aren't taking the storm lightly.
Don't underestimate this storm because you think it may be a tropical storm or Category 1. Those are serious enough. It could be worse than that, however.
And they're making what preparations they can as well.
As we find out where this storm is going, then I'll work with the White House to make sure that FEMA provides everything they can provide.
I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Now we're told forecasters expect Nate to make landfall on Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula Friday night, bringing up to 8 inches of rain. National Hurricane Center expects Nate to strengthen to a hurricane before hitting Louisiana, and that's expected late Saturday night. So I know, Matt, that you've been tracking that in the Storm Tracker Weather Center. Yep. Fairly quick-moving tropical system right now. That could be advantageous or not?
It should be, because that means that we're going to get it through quicker, more quickly, rather than what we're seeing down in Houston, that area. Current track bringing us late Saturday, part of Sunday for landfall, but it's going to move out of there in quick fashion. Could be a Category 1 storm by the time it hits the Gulf Coast. Our temperatures this morning into the 20s and 30s. A chilly start to the day. Put those jackets in the kids' backpacks. They may need it. I think the wind is going to be a bigger factor by the time you head into the afternoon. Temperatures warming up, but it could be windy with the south wind gusting up near 30 miles an hour at times. Talk about what that spells for the weekend. That's all coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Now 6:35 on this Friday. Local news, 2 teenagers in Anaconda face charges after police allege they made threats on social media to shoot up the school. Anaconda police say a 17-year-old boy, 14-year-old girl will be charged with felony intimidation after making the threats on Snapchat. A staff member at Anaconda High called police after seeing the alleged threats Thursday morning. The teens, who were not in school at the time, were found in question. Schools were temporarily on lockdown and reopened once police determined it was safe. The 2 students do remain in custody. Also, former Montana State University instructor has been charged with felony embezzlement. Stephen Jenkins, former instructor at MSU's Western Transportation Institute, is charged with embezzling more than $21,000 from the school. Reports were first made to MSU Police Department back in May of 2016 when an employee noticed Jenkins had taught around 18 unauthorized classes using MSU time and money. Jenkins allegedly did not give MSU any of the revenue for those classes, which were taught in 2014. It was also discovered that Jenkins had reportedly misused grant money, resulting in losses of money and property to the university. Jenkins will appear in court on the felony charge, and that's coming up on November 29th. State Farm Insurance says Montana ranks second in the country, this year for the number of crashes involving a deer. TN's Morgan Davies reports, but we do want to share that some of this video may be considered disturbing to some.
According to the State Farm study, 1 in 57 Montanans will hit a deer. Those chances of hitting a deer go up from October through December.
Is the mating season for larger animals, and so they're moving a lot more during that dusk dawn period.
It's important to be on high alert at those times during the fall, but auto body shops see collisions all the time.
I'd say we're probably anywhere from 60 to 70% of what we run through here is deer.
Sometimes hitting a deer is inevitable, but double checking to make sure that you have the right insurance coverage may help you save a few pennies if you do find yourself in a deer versus car situation.
Typically, insurance coverages, you need comprehensive coverage that typically has a deductible applied to it.
On top of making sure you have the right insurance protection, make sure to slow down at dusk and dawn. If you see one deer, there is usually more to follow, and do not swerve to avoid hitting one.
I've seen an awful lot of damage from people swerving to miss deer. Better off hitting it.
Finally, there are many tools on the market like deer whistles, which have been proven inefficient to protect you. Reporting in Bozeman, Morgan Davies, MTN News.
By the way, West Virginia came in first for the state with the most collisions. Montana was second. State Farm has issued its car deer report for the past 15 years. Also, Bozeman Health announced it's acquired land for a new patient facility. MTN's Caitlin Corbett tells us what patients can expect.
Thousands of commuters travel past the corner of Huffine Lane and South Cottonwood every day, making it the perfect location for Bozeman Health to build its newest facility, an outpatient care center. Costing an estimated $20 million, the facility will feature 40,000 to 60,000 square feet of space and host a variety of primary care services like urgent care and outpatient surgery.
One of the things that we're doing is we're trying to provide lower cost alternatives to delivery of care sites, and so outpatient surgery is one of the ways to do that, and having primary care in neighborhood centers where it's easily accessible and convenient, and so we will have family medicine, pediatrics, just convenient access to the daily needs that our community has.
Bozeman Health acquired 3 different pieces of land on which to build this new facility, including this one here right behind me. Those 3 pieces equal almost 5 acres in size, and a lot went into choosing this location.
It's convenience and access. That's the main thing, and we've been tracking the demographic growth and changes that are going on in West Bozeman. And so we started a few years ago tracking this area and seeing what would be a great location for a primary care site. And given the development that's happened here and the traffic flows that go through here, this has been a great location, I think, for our expanded primary care services.
The new facility will replace Bozeman Health's same-day surgery center, currently located downtown. Construction will begin next spring and is expected to be completed by next winter. Reporting in Bozeman, Caitlin Corbett, MTN News.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about this new facility, visit us online, kbzk.com. We're going to take a quick break. When Montana This Morning returns, we're going to take a detailed look at the Sunday night massacre from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. But first, here's Gail King with a preview of what's coming up on CBS This Morning.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, the new details that show the Las Vegas gunman may have scouted other potential targets before the mass shooting. And Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda is here in Studio 57. How do you get more than a dozen performers to come together for his new song benefiting Hurricane Maria victims in Puerto Rico? We'll see you at 7 o'clock on the dot.